welcome to the Boy Scouts meeting tonight. I am going to be talking about firearm safety at reenactments. It's going to be very brief. I'm not going to keep you here too long. I know you've got other things to do, but it's very important that we observe firearm safety inside of a reenactment zone. Anytime you deal with firearms, there's potential for injury and even death when you deal with firearms. A lot of the things that we don't think about when you're dealing with them, just because you're firing blanks does not mean the gun is not dangerous. As some of you have been on some of the reenactments, some of you haven't. Usually in the course of a year we do have a couple of injuries. Most of them are minor. Some of them are like powder burns, damage to your equipment, barrel burns, things like that. You don't want to have serious injuries happen like Daryl had when he was up at World War I the first year, where he crushed his hand in the 08-15 feeding mechanism. Yeah, firing blanks almost damaged his hands. Some other things you want to consider: hearing loss. When you guys are out there, you're firing, you kind of get in the heat of the moment, you're not paying attention to your surroundings, pull that gun right behind someone's ear, fire, bye-bye eardrum, hearing loss. Got a little bit of hearing loss from some of our former guys at a Russian reenactment, firing the gun about that far away from my head. So every once in a while I get ringing in my ear. When you're on vehicles, pay attention to your surroundings. Daryl got a severe burn one time when he was riding in a Jeep. You're firing a Thompson submachine gun that fires its entire clip in under 30 seconds. The brass goes somewhere. Got into the back of his collar. He's got a couple of scars on the back of his neck from that. Brass is hot when it ejects from a firearm. Some other things you want to consider: barrels. When you're firing a machine gun or firing a Garand and you fire it really fast, you grip that barrel right after you fire, it will scald you. That happened to me with the PPS H41, the Russian reenactment. Yes, we have a lot of stories relating to injuries. The PPS H41, I grabbed it trying to going up a hill, and it has a shield on it, but my fingers went past the shield point, touched the barrel, and I thought I was. But I screamed out loud. It was really bad. I had a blister on my hand. Those are minor injuries. Some serious ones. I know some of you guys were at the Fort Campbell battle. There were a couple of guys that got blasts to the face. I saw one guy that had a chunk of his ear missing where a German shot at his face. He had blast marks all the way across his face. Took a little piece of his ear off. Those are serious events. Actually, I think that actually happened from a blowback, which moves into another point. Blowbacks on guns. Anytime we issue a weapon, make sure you're using the blanks that are given to you. It's very important you do that. A lot of times we use Springfields. Most blanks that we fire out of Springfields, it doesn't matter what the powder content's in there. But with the Garands, where it's a semi-automatic weapon and it's functioning by the gas pushing back, if a blank does not have the gas expulsion capacity in the front, it's going to shatter the back of the Garand. Some of you may have seen some of the weapons we have where it's got a welding mark on the back of the gun. That's where a blowback happens. Blowbacks are serious. That will get you killed. That's why we don't use other people's blanks. Don't use blanks you pick up off the battlefield. You don't know what the powder quality is in there. Some other things you want to take into consideration. You're running through a battlefield, you drop your weapon. First thing you want to do is make sure you don't fire that weapon. There's a potential that you got mud or some kind of debris down the barrel. If that happens, that gun is suddenly not a blank firing gun, it is a real gun. It will fire whatever is in that barrel out and hit someone. That is very serious. You might as well be pointing a gun at someone and shooting them. Don't want to do that. Which comes to another point. When you're out in the field, don't point your gun directly at any of the other reenactors out there. Just don't do it. Aim above their head, aim to the side, but don't aim directly at a person. If you think, especially in a mount site, that it's the difference between injuring someone or getting a shot off, don't shoot. It's safety. Safety first. We always want to emphasize safety in this. Now, when we're in the mount site, it's a lot more dangerous. It's in closed spaces. There's a lot of people usually at those events. The chances of getting injured are much higher there. You guys do a great job of maintaining your own safety. Usually we have no problems with you guys on that end. People you got to worry about at a lot of reenactments, especially at Mount Site reenactments, are other reenactors. They don't take safety as seriously as we do. So there are some things you can do to protect yourself on that. When you're taking corners, make sure you look around the corner before you just go full on into that hallway, because you never know if there's someone going to be popping around shooting right at you. That happened to Robert. He went around a corner, a German guy was right there, had his gun right at Robert's chest, probably no further than here to here. Got fired into. Luckily he had 3 layers of clothing on, otherwise he probably would have had a pretty serious powder burn. That went through his HBT jacket, went through his wool jacket, it shredded it. It even went to a little bit of his t-shirt underneath there. So those things happen pretty frequently in a combat situation, in a reenactment. World War I, you guys turn 18, it's another situation. It's not a Mount Site, but there's a lot of trenches. So when you go into those trenches, chances of injury are pretty high. So you take the steps necessary to protect yourself. Besides that, just maintain the things that we talked about. You know, observe firearm safety at all times. Observe your environment at all times. And if in doubt, you just don't fire. Just never, ever, ever take the game, you know, the reenactment as something serious in the aspect of entertainment. You want to make sure you maintain safety before everything. So, that's all I got tonight. Appreciate it.